Let's just take a look at the banking sector. Some good news coming out of the banking sector. A Union Bank saying it's on track to recapitalize ahead of that September deadline, and it could soon sign a deal with core investors. It rallied 5% yesterday. Could we see some more positive sentiment around the stock today?
Yes, absolutely. I think over the last 2 weeks, the banking industry has had a little bit of a challenge because the CBN obviously came out with a publication that the 30th September deadline was sacrosanct for the rescued banks to recapitalize. So there was a lot of jitters in the market about a potential liquidation across the rescued banks. But I think since then we've seen some positive news. We've seen some positive news from the legal sector in terms of, the court passing some useful decisions for the M&A activities to go ahead. And we've seen the likes of Union Bank come out to say that they're on track to recapitalize right in time before the deadline. So that's positive news for the sector, and we're hopeful that it should continue at least in the near to medium term.
Let's just move on to some other stocks which have had quite a strong rally in the past few sessions. Flour mills, it was trading around 70 at the beginning of the year. It's sitting at around 91 shillings at this stage. It just came out saying that it's looking to raise around 30 to 40 billion naira in fresh equity. It has aggressive expansion plans in the region. Are you bullish on this stock?
Absolutely. I think flour mills is one of the top quality stocks that we're looking at in the sector. In terms of market share, it's the #1 company in the food and beverage sector. Its market share is just over 50%, so it has a very strong market position. In addition to the 30 to 40 billion naira bond that they're looking to raise, they're also looking to increase their share capital by an additional 1 billion naira. So that should give them additional capacity to expand and increase their market share possibly. So we're very bullish on flour mills. We think that even in terms of valuation, it's quite cheap relative to the other stocks in the sector. And if you look at their management team as well, they're it's a pretty well-run company. So we're still bullish on flour mills, and we continue to hold that in our portfolios.
Breweries have also had quite a strong rally in the last few sessions. Is this justified?
Yeah, I mean, at times like this, we've seen a lot of uncertainty in the banking sector. So the brewery sector has played their traditional defensive role, whereas the banking sector has been down by just over 13% on a year-to-date basis. We've seen the brewery sector rally by over 20% on a year-to-date basis. So that, they continue to provide good diversification opportunities for portfolios for various fund managers, including ourselves. And we think that the M&A announcements within the sector has also been a positive news. So generally, it's one of the better parts in the portfolio. But I think that we're getting to a position where the stocks, those individual stocks, the Guinness and Nigerian breweries, are starting to look rich in their valuation. So we might start to either, take some profit or start to just hold the positions that we have across portfolios.
Now, looking at the building materials sector, one sector that has been had increased regulation, and they've now cement companies have now responded by saying they're going to be increasing capacity to offset the declining prices that they will have to pass on to their consumers. Lafarge WAPCO has recently increased its equity stake in Shaka to around 58% from just over 50%. How are you playing these stocks at this stage?
I mean, the building materials sector really, in terms of the capacity expansion, is against the backdrop of the federal government's policy or their plan to implement a $220 billion national.
Appears we have a problem. Shuaib?
This should help to increase infrastructure spending across board. So we think that in terms of the outlook for the industry is very positive for the likes of Dangote, cement, Lafarge, WAPCO, as well as Ash. We've seen Lafarge come into the market very recently to increase their holding in WAPCO to just under 60%. They also own over 50% of Ashaka cement as well. So we think that this is based on the positive outlook of the sector, and we're seeing institutional investors to take positions for positive medium to long-term outlook.